the comments from Pedro on Eloy and the injuries, obviously we dissected them. But the one that also got people riled up this weekend was his comments on Oscar Colas. Again, this is from Daryl Van Schouwen of the Chicago Sun-Times. And the title of the article is, White Sox want Oscar Colas to turn down the volume. And these are the quotes from Pedro Grifol. Quote, "We have to dial down on the intensity level. This might sound a little weird, but he plays the game at a 10 volume. We need to play him at an 8. A 10 makes him a little reckless, especially at the plate. Let the game come to him as opposed to trying to do too much." Grifol on Oscar Colas, and Mike Tozar even had comments on Colas. They need to shrink the strike zone and not try to cover everything. Everything is based on the fastball, trying to have him know where the edges are at and staying away from the edges, keeping him moving towards the middle of the plate. We did see the play in right field today that really let this game unravel, where it was a sac fly that seemed like Remillard and Colas didn't communicate well enough on, and then Colas, to make the play, had to lunge, fell off his feet, and then from his butt tried to make a crazy throw home to get Joey Gallo. Did not. Game was tied, and then we went into extras. Outside of that, Colas had a pretty nice game. 3 hits, stole a base as well.
Threw a guy out,
and let's bring up that stat, too, from Sarah Langs of MLB.com. Oscar Colas's 100.9 mile per hour assist was the fastest outfield assist of the year in MLB, and the White Sox fastest tracked outfield assist under StatCast going back to 2015.
Cuban Ohtani.
Put him on the mound.
He can throw.
Hey, Dylan Cease, the ace for 2024. Michael Kopech, number 2 starter with a high ceiling. Number 3, Cuban Ohtani.
That's a tough.
He's made 26 and 27 on the roster.
That will not happen, but
okay.
Do remember that, the guy has a pitching background, so when you see him throw a very nice throw from right field like that, that is very much in his arsenal, very much something he can do. Those comments from Pedro, I understand why people would just see them and be, as you put it, riled up. Nobody likes to assume that players are being told to give less effort or not try so hard. But that's very much not what that was. And I think if you think back all the way to the first month and what you saw from Oscar Colas, you saw a guy whose energy and excitement to be in the major leagues and that whole quote-unquote new blood kind of feel, right? That was delivering in moments. You were seeing him on the base paths and in the outfield and in certain moments being able to do things and rile guys up and get the team going with that energy. There is no way in hell the White Sox want to stop that. But when he came back from the minor leagues a little short while ago, he told us that the thing that was bothering him in the first month, in his first month as a Major League Baseball player, was anxiety. Really, he was too anxious. He was too
juiced.
He was just too kind of jittery up there and was trying to do too much because of it. There was an emotional aspect, a mental aspect that was contributing to the poor results that he had in the first month of the season, just as much as just facing Major League pitching for the first time, right? And so going up there to the plate and just trying to hit a 5-run homer every time you're up there, that's what led to him chasing. It's what led to him not being able to control the strike zone very well, and it's what led to some of those very poor offensive numbers. And I think we even saw some defensive mistakes, like we did today, where that could also be applied. And so it's not so much dialing back the effort, right? It's not so much dialing back the try-hardness, if you will. It's focusing. It's making sure that the energy is being delivered in a way that's going to make the play easier to make, that's going to make the ball easier to hit, that's going to give you a good at-bat. It's calming down more than it is not trying so hard. And listen, we saw there was a play that happened, I believe it was right after that play where he fell down in the 10th inning and let the run score. There was a single hit to center field, and Luis Roberts just waiting for the ball to come to him like a very routine base hit. And out of the camera, Oscar Colas comes flying in and cuts the ball off, and we're like, what's going on? And it's that kind of thing. It's that whole don't be trying so hard that you're making mistakes. Dial the anxiety back a little bit, dial the energy back to where you can calm yourself down and be able to focus and concentrate and make good decisions. Because that is what the problem is with Oscar Colas, it would seem, at least in the first month of the season, and certainly the results have not been much better since he came back before the nice game today at the plate. And so I think that's what those comments mean. Obviously, Twitter or X or whatever we're going to call it starting tomorrow is not a place where long-form context lives, and so I can see where some folks would be upset at just the first blush comments there, but there is some context that goes along with the struggles that he was having in the first month of the season.
I mean, we talked about in the offseason, last year was Oscar Colas's only year before this year in the United States playing minor league baseball. And the White Sox had opportunities to go and get a right fielder and have this question be put off to 2024. But they didn't. They went and got a left fielder, and, of course, Andrew Benintendi's been all right. But they left Pedro Grifol with no options except for Oscar Colas or Gavin Sheets, a player that's only 1 year in minors or a first baseman playing right field. Bad roster construction now leads into Pedro having to play this guy every day in April in his first taste of Major League Baseball. And, of course, every baseball player who first starts in Major League Baseball is going to be nervous, is going to be anxious, is going to be trying to do everything he can to impress the team and to make the team win. And so this is one of the reasons why I wanted him to start the year in the minors and make him force the issue that he's got to come up. And go and get a guy before this, like Cody Bellinger. Go and get the guy we saw score a couple of runs today, Joey Gallo. Go and get anybody else, Michael Conforto. Somebody can play right field that's played right field before, that is a solid glove, so you don't have this kid having to perform at a high level on a team that is expected to win. So this was a major mistake by the front office initially. They've done it with players before, where they brought up Vaughn after a year of being in the minors and then, of course, the break and working at Schaumburg, but 1 year in the minors. They see how that's going. It's not going great. It's all right, but he's not the player that he should be at this point. They just keep on missing or messing up the plays that they're supposed to do. I hope they don't do this with Colson Montgomery. Let him be down in the minors all next year. Not get fooled by all the home runs he's hitting right now and all the good stuff he's doing. Let him force the issue. And they didn't do that with Oscar Colas. They got a little too happy. It's like, this guy's going to come to our lineup and hit X amount of home runs, and he's going to be contributing to our team. This is a problem with Rick Hahn, not necessarily Pedro Grifol. He's got to play the players out there, and I think he thinks that Oscar Colas gives him the best chance to win. And at this point, with their 19 games below, he's got to play every single game. If I see Zach Remillard out there again in right field, I'm going to be pissed, because
That's your guy.
yeah, he's a 30-year-old middle infielder. Great that he's having a great year, but he shouldn't play right field ever again, especially when Oscar Colas is available. Oscar Colas should be playing all the available games in right field unless he needs a blow. It's like you've committed. You're pot committed. He should be playing.
Who has more home runs this year, Oscar Colas or Zach Remillard?
Total?
Yeah.
Like in the majors and minors?
No, just MLB. It's a push.
Oh, they won each?
It's Matchbox 20's push.
Oh, wow.
Right there. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, I don't care who plays right field. I get your point absolutely, though. I mean, let's look back at this offseason. This team that was 81-81, the two pushes that they signed this offseason to get them over the edge or to get them, back on track was Andrew Benintendi and Mike Clevenger. That just wasn't enough. I mean, again, I didn't think the quality of Benintendi was, enough. But again, if they added one more guy and they got Gallo and Benintendi, I'd be a lot quieter on this side of the table. I mean, absolutely.
Joey Gallo is hitting under $190.
That's fine.
He's got 17 homers.
Sure, and
that would
that's
have
good.
helped out.
That's a 107 OPS.
The White Sox
That's
currently have the worst.
Oscar Colas is like 415.
Currently
OPS.
have the worst right field situation in Major League Baseball.
And they
Again,
have for 5 years.
again.
Yeah, I mean, Nomar Mazara, Adam Eaton, now Oscar Colas. I mean, again, they just have not been able to solidify this. And even the guy that we talked about in the first segment. I mean, again, I feel like the glass is shattered now on Pedro Grifol. We talked about this a little bit in May when he was playing Eloy like 7 straight games in right field. It's like, of course, that's going to cave in on you because we've seen that this player just doesn't have that level of durability to be out in the field. I also don't know if he has the level of play to actually be an outfielder as well, but we've learned that a long time ago. And also we know that right field is a difficult position, more difficult position than left field to play.
Yes.
So they're moving them from left to right field. Like, I mean, a lot of these moves just don't make sense for this team. They needed a more aggressive offseason if they actually wanted to push themselves above 81 and 81. And Clevenger's been fine, but when was the last time we talked about him? When was the last time he pitched for the Sox? June 14th?
He hasn't pitched since the early June.
I don't know.
Been out for almost 2 months.
What's wrong with him?
They needed more depth. I mean, period. And they just did not have that at all. And this is what happens when all that depth, or all the players, above the depth get hurt and aren't as consistent as you needed them to be. We're seeing some consistency from Tim Anderson, but really does feel like a little too late. I mean,
it's a lot too late.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that maybe there is still Tim Anderson in that body, but again, it's a lot too late for the 2023 Chicago White Sox. I think we got like 90 people watching. 96, great year. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, people. We're at 96 viewers, but only 21 likes. We'd like to see that go up a little bit more. And Pop saying it's sad when these dudes are wishing for Joey Gallo. Dude, I'd take anything. I mean, Zach Remillard.
Yeah, Joey Gallo in that case
Victor
too
Reyes apparently
would be helping with the offensive pop, and he'll be hitting probably middle to lower bottom of the order, helping with home runs and with his glove and with his speed. You saw the speed today. Like, that would be much better than we would have right now. Much better.
Hey, Hanser Alberto's still a free agent.